How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samara Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samara Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samara. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samara Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Tom, are you a fish and chips man or a bangers and mash man?
Ooh, I'm a malt vinegar man. So like, you know, when you discover what malt vinegar is and you get the fish and chips and then there's the bottle of Heinz malt vinegar, I just douse it on my fries and stuff. I think that was the first time I ever discovered that was in London. Whether that's actually a London thing or if it's a Irish thing, I don't know. But that's how I discovered malt vinegar. So I'm going to go with fish and chips just soaked in malt vinegar.
I'm going to go with fish and chips doused in malt liquor. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Aberstro.
Tom, it's time for the draft. What's better than the draft? We have 16 international competitors who are fighting for the title of Top Chef Season 20 Global All-Stars, filmed in London, a dubious but very appealing culinary capital. And already we got some fireworks in episode 1. We got water being spilled by one chef into another's saute pan. We've got people forgetting their proteins. We got people forgetting to devein their shrimp. Oy, vault. I mean, Tom, it is, I think there's a lot going on, but more than anything, we got a draft. And I just kind of want to throw it to you because I think you have a much firmer understanding. Like, are we any good at this? 5 seasons in, this is our 6th draft, right? Like, am I better off throwing darts at a board? I mean, what's our coefficient here? Like, are we doing any good work whatsoever on drafting?
I think we are. Whether we're getting better at it, I'm not sure. I think we kind of we feel like we're getting better at the draft, but as you know, in the NBA, we're not any better than we were 10 years ago. And why that is, I don't know. But I remember the Tyler Anderson draft from a few years back. Tyler Anderson was my number 1 pick because I had discovered this amazing little kernel of research that when you look at the first episode, the Elimination Challenge winner goes and wins the entire Top Chef over a third of the time. So you have like 15 contestants. You'd put 5% chance, 6% chance at winning the whole thing from there. But if you go and look at the first episode winner, the Elimination Challenge winner goes on to win 5 out of the 13 times that we saw up until Tyler Anderson. Of course, Tyler Anderson wins the first episode. And so I draft him number 1 overall, and he promptly gets booted like 2 episodes later and totally defies the logic of the first elimination challenge effect. And so we, last year, you fell to the same trap that I did that year, is that you drafted Robert number 1 overall. And I remember being surprised, but you were going with the math of just historically. There was Jeremy Ford that year. He won number 1 overall because he won the first episode. I think there are a couple other examples historically. And I will say the correlation coefficient is 0.417. Did I have that right? Hold on. Let me pull this up, the exact number here, because I want to make sure that people out there understand. We are not just throwing darts at a dartboard. That would be a correlation coefficient of 0.0. It would be nothing. But it is actually a medium effect, negative 0.47. Not bad.
I'll take it.
Not bad.
I'll take it.
A negative 1, a whole number of 1.0 would be perfect. That we have predicted the order of Top Chef contestants 1 to 15, perfect after the first episode. Negative 0.47 is probably a medium effect. Last year, I picked Buddha at number 3. I also picked Gabriel Gabrialis at number 2. You had Shota number 1, and those were the finalists. So we're not terrible at this, Kevin, but I got to ask you, do you feel like you want to have the first pick, or do you want to seed that and offer up me taking the number 1 pick overall?
No, I'm going to take the first pick this year.
Whoa. Okay.
But I'm going to take it not to take the person who won the elimination challenge. Those days are over.
Wow.
But I am going to take it based on track record, just not the first episode. Not the first elimination challenge.
Okay, so David Stern / Kevin Arnovitz, can you give us the first pick of the Pack Your Knives Season 20 draft?
With the first pick in the Season 20 Global All-Stars draft, Team Kevin selects Buddha Lowe of Port Douglas, Australia.
Oh, man, this is heartbreaking. Oh, Buddha Lowe is number 1 on my big board. You snatched it from out of my grasp. I knew it, Kevin. You would do it. You would zag when last year you zigged. You went with the guy who won the first episode, Elimination Challenge, Robert, last year. And now you go with our favorite, the encyclopedia of Top Chef competition, the reigning champion, Buddha Lowe.
I do. I don't recall a chef who is cooking with more competence and mastery of what exactly it is these people are doing here. You even saw it in the when we saw the quick fire challenge, right? Go pick 5 ingredients. Like, Buddha's no dummy. He goes and gets cream and he gets eggs, right? He doesn't screw around with blueberries or cabbage or any of the other cheap shit, right?
No.
Like, the man knows how to play the game. The man has versatility. He has technicality, he has creativity, he has presentation, he derives from about 48 different culinary traditions. I am convinced that Buddha Lowe, Tom Haberstroh, Buddha Lowe is one of the most complete chef testants to grace this fine program in its more than 2 decades of existence. We are seeing somebody who will be enshrined in the Top Chef Hall of Fame near the very entrance. I know he did not even make the top 3 in the first challenge with his eggplant and shrimp and shiitake, tofu, pickle kohlrabi, and miso dashi. But I am convinced that Buddha Lowe is going to give me, if not a win, we are going to be living with this man most of the spring. And I'm not going to be subject to no early elimination no more. Those days are over. I'm going with an error-free chef here. I just do not see a scenario where Buddha Lowe ever has the worst dish out of 16, 12, 10, 8, or even 5. I mean, maybe when it gets to the, to the final couple weeks, hey, anything can happen. But I've never felt more confident of a first pick.
Were you worried that I was going to take him number 1 overall?
Hell yeah, that's why I took my prerogative. But now you have an enviable task. You get 2 and 3, and there are a lot of talent on the board here. Tom, who do you take with the second pick?
With the second pick of the Top Chef Season 20 Pack Your Knives Global Draft, I am going to go with Ali Ghazawi.
Oh, going by social media follower count. That's a new criteria.
I loved this guy. I can go without the licorice. I don't like that aspect of food and cuisine. I don't like that flavor, but he's won Top Chef MENA. He comes from the culinary capital of Jordan cuisine. I look at him on the TV and I feel like he's got just this it factor. I don't know. Might have panicked with the number 2 pick. I don't know where he was on your big board, but I really loved his cooking. He's not Buddha where he created his own butter in a quick fire challenge, but I love Ali's background. I love his presence on the show. I think he's going to bring it this season. He wasn't top 3, but my third pick here, or the third overall pick, was in the top 3. But first, your thoughts on Ali?
Yeah, I think there's a lot there, and the pedigree is really impressive. He's a confident chef. With me, I think one of the things that the Elimination Challenge did offer a window into is instinct, right? Because it was one of those, we want a vegetable-forward entree, right? And I think one of the ways that people get themselves in trouble on Top Chef is not understanding the challenge. And what do we know about the judges? We don't like when the judges have a point of emphasis that you don't follow, right? And when they say vegetable forward and you come out with a protein forward, it demonstrates to me a certain vulnerability on, because I think that's how you can get in trouble, especially in the late rounds where, hey, the food and the prep is fine, the presentation is fine, you execute, but that's not what we wanted. And I was a little taken aback to see a piece of sea bass at the center of the plate. Now, looked delicious, and clearly it was delicious. And he had his cauliflower puree and his cauliflower couscous and his pickled cauliflower. He had the nice medley. But it did suggest to me it's a slight red flag when, and look, we'll talk about this with Dawn when she gets off the board, where if you don't, you got to understand the challenge. And it did give me pause. And so he was a guy who I had scouted very high, but I was like, ugh, okay. He doesn't, that's just a fundamental thing with the game. The game is they want you to feature the vegetable. Why are you putting 6 ounces of sea bass front and center?
He's got some room to grow.
Yeah.
But he's already got the pedigree. And speaking of pedigree, the third pick of the PYK draft, Team Tom selects Begonia.
Oh!
Begonia Rodrigo, the Top Chef Spain winner, who's already a 1 Michelin star chef. She comes in with the pumpkin crown that just blew the socks off of all of the contestants. She comes in the top 3. She doesn't win this episode, but man, I was so impressed by Begonia coming in with a lot of expectation, a lot of reputation, but kind of a LeBron of sorts that she has delivered and then some.
I'll be perfectly straight with you. I actually this morning had second thoughts about going 2 and 3 with the understanding that I'd get at least Buddha or Begonia. To me, she was my number 2 with a great distance to number 3. To me, there are 2 complete chefs in this competition from my observation. Buddha and Begonia. So while I applaud your pick and you've demonstrated yourself to be a very savvy drafter, I'm a little disappointed because I was really hoping that maybe you get lured into some other business here, but you knew what everybody knows, which is I think Begonia is almost Buddha-esque too, I think, in terms of sensibility, and I think she is going to be a force. So congratulations there.
I don't know if we've gone this far in a draft without the actual first elimination challenge winner still on the board. And I'm curious if Charbel goes now. Kevin, your number 4 pick.
With the 4th pick in the season 20 Top Chef draft, Team Kevin selects Tom Gutter of Mainz, Germany. Tom, the fact that this man willfully decides to spend his life on cruise ships is definitely a drawback, and I have no interest in visiting him ever in his place of work. However,
good Lord, this dish.
I just saw something there with the carrots. That carrot medley, the Bristol, the mousse, the chutney, the confidence, as he said, the humble carrot. In some ways, he and Charbel took a very similar approach. But there's something about kind of Tom's, and I know he and Sam will screw the pooch in that quick fire with the red cabbage juice poached salmon and pickled blueberries, God knows what else. But there's something about his game that I like. I just, to me, it's what I wanted to see. And I imagine you did not have him as high as I had him, but I feel very confident in this pick. And so that's where I'm headed there.
I had him 2 slots below this, but in my third tier of chefs that I had on the board. So like I think Tom was a really strong pick. I mean, the fake carrot, but the real carrot flavor and components with the bone marrow dust, Kevin. I mean, come on. Are you serious with that dish? So I'm a little bummed because I was waiting there at 6 to pick him, but you took him off the board. Who's number 5?
With the 5th pick in the draft, Team Kevin selects Dale McKay.
Wow.
From Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Winner of Top Chef Canada Season 1. I think similar logic here. I just really... I admired what he did, both up top with the langoustine and the seafood broth with Sarah, again with the roasted eggplant puree, which they seem to like. It almost seemed to be possibly a 4th or 5th place dish in that top 16. Also, Tom, I went to Top Chef Season 1 Canada stats. I kind of went to see the little board, right? So I wanted to see, not all the seasons have it. This is a guy who had 3 wins, 2 highs, a runner-up. He won. He had a couple of quick fire wins. Like, he was the dominant player. He, along with the second, like in that season. Like, he was pretty freaking dominant. And I just think that in going back and looking at those stats, the guy has gotten through a season. He won it in 2011. It was a pretty competitive field from what you can read. And I just believe that he knows how to play the game. So I did this based on kind of past history, to be honest.
I like that. I mean, sometimes you go with film, sometimes you go with, the resume, and sometimes you go with, just previous competition, the highest level of competition. And I like that homework you did there. Dale was pretty high on my big board, but not quite as high as you have him at number 5 here. I'm shocked that you didn't go with Charbel, but Dale did win, along with Sarah Bradley, the quickfire challenge with the langoustines, with the gremolata. So maybe that's another study to do is the quickfire, if there is a quickfire on episode 1, there's going to be a quickfire on episode 1. How many of those winners, those Top Chef winners in the quickfire, what does that get you in the competition? So Dale gets off the board here. So now you're looking at a team right now with Buddha, Tom, and Dale. I've got Ali, Begonia, and with the 6th pick in the season 20 Top Chef draft at Pack Your Knives, I'm going with the Onion Man, Chef Charbel.
All right.
I don't need to tell you, onion is maybe the most underrated food in all of cuisine. I love onions. In fact, the other day, I decided to just caramelize some onions just because. I just sat there and was like, you know what? I'm going to put, a little bit of oil in this pan, and I am just going to take this onion and I'm going to roast it down. Just take it down all the way. It might take an hour. I don't care. I love caramelized onions. He does it like 8 ways. Tom Colicchio at the judges' table was just blown away at the idea of kind of inserting that little like mousse, that onion mousse within the layers of the onion. And it was a knockout dish. And I don't know if I was surprised that he won, because I thought actually Begonia and Tom had equally deserving dishes. but I'm surprised that he was still left on our board. What were you worried about with Charbel, even though he won the first elimination challenge, which with a knockout dish, the onion dish? He fell to number 6. I'm a little surprised by that.
I think I'm discounting the win the first elimination factor because it's an all-star season. By definition, all of these people have won several elimination challenges or they wouldn't be there.
I love that.
And so I'm just discounting that factor in an all-star season.
Yeah, and I think the research does bear that out, is that as we get a higher level of talent, we're seeing that first episode mean less. And so that actually has some grounding in the data, is that 5 of the first 13 chefs that won the first elimination challenge went on to win it, the whole thing. It's kind of like the big fish in a small pond, where like, if you know what you're doing in the early seasons of Top Chef lore, you're going to win the first episode and like run the table. Whereas these days, in more recent seasons, all of these chefs own their own restaurants or have some sort of acclaim. And so it is a higher level of competition, a little bit more random in the early going.
And the other thing, I'll be perfectly honest, was his performance in the quickfire. I think it's fair to say that other than Victoire's al dente risotto, that sad piece of zucchini was far and away the most disappointing element on the 8 plates. And Dawn cited it in her commentary that she was very concerned, what the hell is it doing there? Look, I like zucchini, but it was just on their sauce vierge with grilled mackerel. Like, it was just, what the hell? Like, that's what that guy did. With 5 ingredients, that's what that guy did. Was a sad little unaccompanied, unintegrated piece of zucchini. So while I applaud his like onion work, I just don't see somebody there that I'm going to waste a top 5 pick on.
With the 7th pick of the Top Chef Season 20 Pack Your Knives draft, I am taking the pride of Paducah, Sara Bradley. She wins the quickfire challenge alongside Dale. This is someone who I just love watching on the program. She's a little in your face with her personality. She also has the kind of, humble beginnings of Paducah, Kentucky, when they're on the London bus and they're asking, who's never been to London? Who's never been to Paris? And she's raising her hand both times with the Kentucky girl who's visiting the bright lights of London and the metropolis of Paris. This is a girl from Paducah, Kentucky, who rises to the top of the culinary world. I'm excited to see this from Sara. She already performed well with her quickfire, and while it wasn't an outstanding dish with the pot liquor dish that she did in the challenge, the elimination challenge, I want her on my team. So I'm taking number 7, Sara Bradley, who already has a quickfire point under her belt, which isn't going to be included in our fantasy draft. But yeah, I've got Ali, Begonia, Charbel, and Sara Bradley.
Yeah, I would like to note the irony of a bunch of British chefs criticizing her presentation and plating. Given that British food looks like spackle. Like, have you ever? I mean, there's nothing less appetizing than looking at a plate of English breakfast or bangers and mash or whatever. So I thought that was kind of amusing. With the 8th pick in the season 20 draft, Team Kevin selects Nicole Combs, Top Chef Canada season 5 winner, and I'll tell you why, Tom. I went back and did my research. In a 10-week season, 3 wins, including the finale, 4 additional highs, 3 quickfire challenge wins. Nicole didn't just win All-Star Season 5 Canada. She dominated. And I mean dominated, right? Like in those
96 bowls.
Yeah. I mean, she freaking dominated. And I know she came across as a little flaky in this episode, and I don't know that she wowed anybody with her summer bass garden vegetables. Look, I don't really need a fondant potato little hockey puck. It doesn't do anything for me normally. But I just, there's enough history there, and that was a 2017 competition, so we're not that far removed. This woman cleaned the floor with other Top Chef Canada All-Stars. Cleaned the floor. So if you're telling me that person's available at number 8 in a 16-player draft, I got to tell you, I'm not going to miss the opportunity.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts. No monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
I was a little, just like you were with Charbel, I was a little kind of, not shocked. Nicole's, that's not the right word, but the idea that she was going to let a risotto happen. And I know that it's the first episode and you're trying to feel each other out a little bit. But when Victoria decided to do a risotto as a teammate, I would just jump in and say, no, we're not doing that. And yes, she mentioned the whole curse of the Top Chef risotto, but it was almost kind of a savvy move in a way, was that she knew that like if she makes the risotto, it's going to be her fault. I'm not going home later. This is a quick fire. If she wants to fall on that sword, go right ahead. So I was a little surprised at that, because given her pedigree and the fact that you listed how dominant she was, I thought she'd be a little bit more stronger in that partnership. But she kind of just, all right, if you want to take the contested 37-footer falling out of bounds that never goes in, sure, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Like, I really don't. I'm with you there. It was obviously uninspired, and she didn't show me anything in the quick fire. I mean, I guess her poached oyster must have been decent. But what do you do when your Italian compatriot basically says, I want to do something idiotic? Like, I mean, do you just like on a quick fire, as you said, with there's no consequence other than the indignity of having to be told you had one of our least favorite dishes in a non-elimination challenge? Like, I don't know what you do there. To me, the bigger red flag to me was, again, she was somebody who kind of centered the summer bass, though everyone seemed to really like her veggies. So, but there's enough. Again, this is one of those, we're in the middle of the draft and there's somebody with a history of affecting winning, somebody who knows how to win Top Chef weekly competition. And so I'm gonna snatch her. This is my most difficult pick, number 9. With number 9, I'm gonna select Dawn Burrell from Top Chef season 18, Portland. We know Dawn. We love Dawn. I do it with all the appropriate disclaimers, which is she doesn't really know how to manage time. It's still apparently a problem. I'm even more concerned that she had the instinct to make a Jamaican patty on a veg-forward challenge. I was somewhat reassured in the sense that Tom said she made the right dish at the wrong time. So Dawn doesn't put out bad food. Right. I mean, to this day, she has not put out a bad dish. She has squandered time. She has erred by the wrong focus. Again, pastry instead of veg. But if you're telling me on the back half of the draft, I can select somebody who's probably not made a bad plate in a season en route to a finale, I'm going to take them.
An interesting pick here, because I know you know her faults. You know it better than anybody, but yet she was one of the final contestants of that season, even though she struggled with inspiration right from the get-go in this episode. Didn't really know what she wanted to cook, which is, maybe as she did in the previous season, she needed a few episodes to get her footing. So that was a red flag for me, is that coming into the season, Kevin, she has all of the time to prep and learn from her mistakes of years past, and yet had similar issues of just trying to figure out what she wanted to do and getting delayed and figuring out in the Whole Foods or the grocery store, what am I going to cook? And so that was a little bit of a red flag. But Kevin, let's just spend a moment here to talk about when she had to speak to the judges, and when they asked, how did your day go? And she said, not great. And then she touched Gabriel on the shoulder and just looked at him in the eye like, You know what? I'm going to go there, but I want to be, a little bit of bedside manner here and just let you know we're going forward, and I'm going to try not to run this bus right over you.
Tom, it's reason enough to draft her. It was a master class in bus throwing. It was truly like down to the touching of the elbow, as you said, like down to the physical. I'm going to be Steve Nash here for a second and be such a warm, fuzzy person who actually has enough affection for my arch enemy to actually, give him a love tap while I basically tell the judges this freaking moron put water in my saute pan.
Not a little thimble of water. It was an entire just pot of water. Yeah.
I think that is reason enough to have Dawn. I'm very pleased with this. Look, like at this point in the draft, what I'm basically saying is she is a top 9 player. I don't think she's going out in the next 6 weeks. That's just me. I think there's enough. I think there's enough flotsam down below to, inoculate her from any time management issues. But we'll see. Even with her time management, that was the thing. We know about her time management issues, and it still didn't cost her. And I'm okay at her 9th. Would I have drafted her top 4? Hell no. But I'm okay right here.
Okay, so the Olympian is off the board in the Top Chef Olympics. With the 10th pick in the Pack Your Knives draft of season 20 Top Chef, I am going to go with Luciana Berry.
Yeah, I saw the Brazilian coming for you. I saw this, yeah.
It was a solid performance from Luciana. She does the scallop ceviche with lobster. Is this Top Chef scallop? Is this Top Chef ceviche? We've got, that's an old standby. Is in a quick fire, you want to do some sort of ceviche or some sort of crudo, something easy with a little bit of heat, and she does that. And I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. She knows the game. And with her, UK studies and her, she's the hometown hero, but also from Brazil. So she's got this global cuisine under her belt. I actually like Luciana here. The cassava bisque, look, solid, nothing blow your mind, nothing at the bottom. She wasn't in the bottom. You take Dawn here right before Luciana. I like the value of Luciana here at number 10.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. Actually, I had her higher. I mean, I had her at 8. I think it's a good pick for you.
Number 11. Okay, I'm gonna go with Amar Santana.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't.
Yeah, we can talk trades later at another episode, but if you really want Amar, because you just went to his restaurant, I know a little bit of recency bias here and first person bias. If you want to talk trades later, we can. But Amar Santana, he's a wily veteran of this show, Top Chef California, a great personality. Did the sea bass baba ganoush with Ali in the quick fire. Didn't do much for me there. The seared scallops with the glazed pickled veggies. And the veggies were a really star of that dish, as the judges said. I like Amar. I think he's a bubbly personality, someone I'd like to hang out with. And on Top Chef, I feel like he's going to have a solid run here.
With the number 12 pick in the Top Chef season 20 draft, Team Kevin selects Sylwia Stacja of Lublin, Poland. I'm going to call her Spud because, she likes the potato, being the Pole that she is. I'm going to call her Spud. Spud Stacja. I like this. She seems like a relatively mistake-free chef. I don't know that she's going to wow, but I think there's a degree of competence here. I'm seeing she won her season. Look, I thought there was some creativity there with that sort of deconstructed. It almost looked like a macaron, which she did in the finale. It was really nice looking. The beet goat cheese kohlrabi sandwich. I trust her. I just don't think there's no boneheadedness. You never know when you're paired with Buddha, how much of that was him, how much of that was her. They had one of the top quick fire dishes, but I think she's got some seriously decent fundamentals, and I'm pretty pleased to get her down here. And I feel the same way about May, who I'm taking with the next pick.
Ooh, nice.
May's garden salad, they love that dish. I mean, you saw the way they kind of swooned over just, the heat and the emulsion and the way the veg preparation. There was did they really need the cured sea bass action, I think was the critique. But bottom line is she made a dish that chefs loved. She made it. And then, up top, I don't know, she was part of that begonia kind of middle of the pack, pan-seared monkfish quick fire, but she has some pretty good game, and I'm very pleased to get her here, and I think she might be one of those contestants that hangs around till the final 6-7 weeks, and I'm hopeful to be pleasantly surprised. I'm happy to get her here.
As you should be. I don't see any real dings on the board here for her, and I'm glad you get the Polish chef here because I already got Luciana on my team, so I'm happy to see that you got Sylvia here. And I want to say we're down to our final 3 here. With the 14th pick, I'm going with Victoria or Victory. I'm not going to pronounce that right. I'm going to get it right. You're on my team, and I'm happy you're on my team. She comes from Africa to Italy, living in Milan, and she produces a dish in her elimination challenge, a little bit of a gazpacho, cassava, scallop dish. I'm not super thrilled with her performance in this episode, but she wasn't in the bottom 3 of the elimination challenge. That goes to Dawn, Samuel, and Gabri. But in terms of bottom 3 of the entire episode, Kevin, the choice to go with the risotto, not a fan of that right off the bat. And it, not only was that a poor decision, she wasn't getting the right feedback from Nicole being like, that's not even cooked. That's not al dente. That's just not cooked. And, if you're the Italian chef, you got to nail the Italian staple. And she just whiffed on that. So, but at the 14th pick, it's slim pickings here. So I'm going with Victoria here. With the final pick of the existing chefs, can I take Samuel?
Yeah, you can take Samuel if you want. You don't have to take Gabriel.
Okay.
You can leave the gay for the gay.
I think you took Robert last year because you wanted to get the gay on the team.
Yeah, I always have to have one of the gays.
Okay.
It's just like a little solidarity. I mean, even though Gabriel couldn't find his way out of a paper bag, I'll take him at 16 if you want Samuel.
I'm going to take Samuel, and I feel like this was a harsh elimination. I thought his dish was very good in terms of the actual idea of the challenge was to create like a veggie forward dish, and he of course had the a veggie focused dish with it. Really, I think they actually really enjoyed his vegetables. The presentation was excellent. It's just the fact that he didn't de-poop the shrimp, Kevin, and that was a disqualifier for him. But I actually thought if you were going to do a overall dish evaluation, like all the components worked. It's just he had a cardinal sin mistake of not deveining the shrimp, which I'm going to overlook here. I think this could be some value here.
I think it's the right call. In fact, Tom even said they liked his vegetable work, so it was just it's a really bad error. But clearly, in terms of the prep, whereas look, I guess the question is if Gabriel doesn't have that error, if he doesn't spill water, like how are we seeing him other than the char in that weird dish of his becomes sort of the focus, and clearly the ash kind of literally left a bad taste.
He missed the sauce, Kevin. He forgot a component of the dish. Not only did he spill,
he seems a little frenetic. Definitely, as one of the judges said, kind of beset by nerves. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, when you're down here, it just what are we doing? What are we talking about? So here, that is it. We're at 8 on 8.
Here's Team Kevin. We got Buddha, Tom, Dale, Nicole, Dawn, Sylvia, and May, and Gabri. With my team, I've got Ali, Begonia, Charbel, Sarah, Luciana, Amar, Vittori, and Samuel on my team. Samuel's in Last Chance Kitchen. So I guess part of the reason why it's appealing is he's not going to get the upside, but the downside, he's already eaten the 5 points. He's already been eliminated from the show.
Now, you don't have to absorb that. What do our rules say? You don't have to absorb that, do you?
You don't have to absorb that, but I don't get any of the upside of him actually,
Oh, do you get the point when if he wins a round of Last Chance? Do you get that point? No.
I get that point, and for those who are scoring at home, we should go over that. Is the scoring of our fantasy draft? So the way it works is we draft our teams. The winner of Top Chef the finale gets 25 points. The winner of every elimination challenge gets 10 points. If you finish in the top 3, you get 5 points. So it's a cumulative 10 points. You don't get 10 points plus 5 for being in the top 3. It's just 10 points if you win. And then the other 2 in the top 3 get 5 points each. Then if you're in the middle, if you're neither in the top or the bottom, you're kind of in that hamster wheel of mediocrity in the middle, you get 2 points. If you're in the bottom 3, you do not get any points. If you're eliminated, you get -5. And then there's the quick fire. If you win the quick fire, you get 3 points. And if you are one of the other 2 in the top 3, you get 1 point. And in Last Chance Kitchen, if you move on, you get 1 point. And if you're eliminated, you get a -1. So those are the point totals. You've won the last 2 years in the fantasy draft, Kevin, with your squad. I'll read it again. You got Buddha, Tom, Dale, Nicole, Dawn, Sylvia, May, and Gabri. Who's your best pick so far, you think? Like the one you're most excited about? I know you got Buddha at number 1, but
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the obvious question is Buddha is the answer.
May feels like a really strong pick at 13 value.
Right. Like I think in terms of value, I think May is a great pick. I actually think Nicole has a potential. I know she didn't show much, but again, I have trouble looking at her stats from winning the All-Star season. I mean, she's arguably by performance the best top chef candidate has ever churned out. And, I'm getting her, I get her at, down there at what, at 8. And so for me, that's really appealing. And I think there's value there. Now, I could totally be wrong. Look, I think Tom showed us a lot with that carrot. And I think he's a really strong chef, and I think I don't think he's going to make a lot of mistakes in the early going. So I don't know. I kind of like my team. I mean, if anything, I covet Begonia because I think she's just a badass, and that dish was just insane with the pumpkin noodles and the competence that she's just. I think we will be seeing her in the finale, and so. But what about you? Where do you find value on your roster here?
I just think Charbel at number 6, elimination challenge winner. It is still, even though it's early going, the fact that he had the best dish of all of the 16 contestants shows me a lot. And so he falls to number 6. A huge story in the Pack Your Knives draft. Falls to number 6. And then, of course, I'm excited about Begonia being on my team. You said it. Maybe the most impressive dish of the day. And, just in general thoughts, Tom says this is by far the best first episode we've ever had.
Don't we feel like he says this all the time now, though?
I kind of felt that way, too.
Yeah, like I feel like I've heard this a lot.
When the iPhone comes out and they say, this is the most advanced iPhone yet or the best iPhone yet, I'm like, kind of has to be, right?
I mean, it would be interesting, like if you did have a blind taste test across time. Like I do wonder how much better the dishes are than. I mean, surely. One thing we talk about the credentials, and I've suggested in the past that the fact that everyone is kind of established does take away a little bit from the sort of underdog quality of the show. The idea that a sous chef working in obscurity in a mid-sized city can kind of make a name for themselves. On the other hand, I suspect Tom is right? Like that there's no reason to believe he's not right, which is when you do get chefs who've each, in this case, won a season or finalists in a season, who do have careers, who have trained under the best. Presumably the food's better. So, it's tough to say, but yeah, I'm kind of stoked for the season. Frankly, I also love seeing a little conflict. I mean, I know we've said this in the past. I just, you want a little tension. I do think tension is an essential part of this show. And I hope they really put the screws to the chefs in terms of, really, I hope we have some really difficult, adversarial challenges. And because I do think that is a good way to ratchet up conflict without having the designated dick or the or the personality conflicts. I think if you put them in challenges that are austere or with deprivation, you can only cook by candlelight or whatever the hell, or you've got whatever you can find in the Thames River you can use in a meal, whatever the hell it's going to be, right? Like I do think I hope we see a little bit of that. Like I think I want there to be adversity in this season, and the best way to achieve that is just to have really tough challenges.
Yeah, and it looks like they're excited. You know, like you can feel it from Padma, Gail, and Tom that they're excited for this season. That this is the all stars of all stars, and I'm really upset that I don't have Buddha on my team because of how much of a juggernaut he was last year and how he nerded out on our show. What's up, Buddha? Great to see you back on the competition. Top Chef is back, Kevin, and Gail's back. I mean, she did the suit with the shorts on the elimination challenge. She looks great. Everyone's looking like they're in prime shape for some competition. We are so excited for Top Chef to be back, and I'm just, you know, Kevin, the flowers are budding and blossoming. The birds are chirping, and Top Chef season 20 is back in my life. I'm excited, Kevin.
For Tom Havistro, this is Kevin Arnovitz, and this is Pack Your Knives.